What's hatchin', Toga Peeps? Oldmantup coming at you today with our Week 9 matchup versus Gym Leader Gio and San Francisco GiEnteis. A rematch of our Week 3 loss to the GiEnteis. This will be the 4th time we played Gio in this format, and we haven't beat him yet, so I'd really like to today. So, if you're excited, go ahead and say you're excited in the comments below, I guess. Yeah. So today, I'm going to be a little bit more casual narration. Don't have a lot of time to get super crazy with it. As you can see, this is another Showdown recording. Gym Leader Gio and I both had really busy schedules this week. He was on vacation in the beginning of the week. I was on vacation in the beginning of the week. It came to Wednesday, and then it's like, oh yeah, we have to get a battle in this week sometime. He is a nurse and works crazy hours, and I work for the automotive industry and work crazy hours. So this happened in the wee hours of the morning, Saturday morning. Probably right before the team builder actually went live yesterday. So it was super early, and this was a really long stinking match. It's probably one of the longest matches I've had in GBA history. So yeah, let's give a look at the teams. He's obviously the San Francisco GiEnteis, and we are going to have his perspective on this, so keep that in mind. He brought Zapdos, Latias, Entei, Cresselia, Nidoking, and Granbull. Kind of what we expected. A little bit disappointed that I brought Heracross, looking at this team matchup right away, and I could have had Azelf, which I think might have helped a little bit more. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the match. For those of you who wonder, because I am going to be eating, because I just got off of work. It's Sunday morning at 7 a.m. This is going to go live at like 10. So you guys are going to get super quick edit on this. So please forgive me for that. But working 7 days, I don't have a whole day to sit down and do this. So we're going to be eating straight from Grandma Tup. Blueberry zucchini bread, which I've never had before. So if I just kind of fall off into eating, you're welcome, because you've been introduced to blueberry zucchini bread, and everyone's favorite breakfast beverage that isn't coffee, chocolate milk. So let's get into this match, because like I said, it is a long one. He's gonna lead off with his pause. There we go. He's going to lead off with Granbull. I wasn't exactly sure what he'd want to lead off with. He doesn't have a U-turner outside of Zapdos. I don't think Nidoking gets U-turn, or a Volt turner outside of Zapdos. And if he let it, Winston is a perfect answer to that. Even if he's carrying a beneficial HP to take us down, that's not going to do much to bulky Winston, because Winston is bulky and things. So yeah, that's what we got going on here. That's why we let Hippowdon, and I figure might as well get the sand up. The worst lead matchup we could have is against the Nidoking, and that's if it's special. Anything else Winston matches up really well against, 1v1. So yeah, fun and things. So we're gonna get our rocks up turn 1 right away, and we're gonna see what he's gonna switch into. We are at -1 attack, or -1 attack after the Intimidate. So we do see it's an Intimidate variant. I'm gonna go straight into Red 1. Now I'm not really worried about this. He's gonna pull a double switch, go into the Nidoking, really risky right off the bat, and I go into Cinnamon. So I'm like, I don't know what he does and isn't gonna have for a Sludge Wave. Gonna do huge damage. We just Pain Split, which is actually beneficial for us here. He is gonna switch out, and we're going to Pain Split again. Almost went for the Toxic right there, predicting him to switch out, because I didn't think he'd want to stay in and just let his Nidoking get destroyed that way. With Red 1, it's got Roost for recovery, and that's excellent. So he's going to Defog here, and we're going to go for the Toxic and miss. Now, why might this be important? Because had I hit it that turn, this next turn I either would have Volt switched out, or I would have Pain Split while he was still at high health, predicting him to hit us with a Dragon Pulse, a Draco Meteor, a Surf, all of which I expect him to have, or at least one of those. So we're going to see how well that plays out in the end, which would have helped us, because we're going to see that huge surf coming in here. We don't see that do a lot of damage. So we're going to think he's more defensively invested here, because even though we are completely specially defensive, and we're going to miss a few turns here, mainly what that was I hit the toxic and then I volt switched out as he roosted. So it got us the initiative. We got Bloodlust in, and Bloodlust is going to do what I designed it to do. I don't think he's going to stay in. Even if he was predicting the pursuit, I still think he's going to switch out. If he stayed in an attack, that just gave me a free Sucker Punch. I probably outspeed this if it's a bulky variant, and I'm sure he figured that out. If he has no speed investment, I'm going to outpace it if I'm max speed and hit it with a huge knockoff. So we're going to get a little bit of that toxic damage. He is going to switch out here and go into Granbull. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the sub up before that, so we are at -1 attack. But we are going to set up the Home Claws here, which is going to boost our accuracy and put us back to a neutral setup. I thought he might switch out here or hopefully miss a play rough. That doesn't happen. Now, here, I predict this switch into Entei. Now let me tell you why I predict it. Because I know he's going to expect me to attack that turn, and then he's going to be able to come in and out-prioritize my Prankster with a +2 extreme speed. Those of you who don't know, extreme speed has +2 in priority, where Prankster only gives me a +1. I'm hoping that mechanics is good, because that is what my reasoning was behind this. And that's why I set up this last sub here, because I expect him to switch out and try to out-prioritize me with the extreme speed after hitting him with whatever I go to hit him with. And I do set up the sub here. Now he's going to go for the extreme speed, which he proves he has, and I go for the gunk shot here, and that does not as much damage as I would have liked. Now I switch out here, not sure if he is choice locked into anything. Last time he was banded, so I'm trying to scout for that here. And right now Cinnamon is my most expendable Mon, seeing as it doesn't do much of, I don't want to say much of anything, aside from spreading around toxic, doesn't do a lot to his team, especially since he brought the Nidoking. So he's going to go for the Sacred Fire here. We are going to live that, so we do see that he isn't Life Orb or Leftovers at this point because of the health, and so that makes me think he's probably either Expert Belt or Assault Vest. He's going to go for the Stone Edge. He is going to hit, and that is going to be enough to take us down, which is super unfortunate. Now we go out into Justice here, and we just go for the Stone Edge because he isn't going to switch Nidoking in here. That's never a good play, considering he knows I've carried Earthquake on this before. Even though that would be a horrible play for me to go for there, and I just go for the Stone Edge. Gonna get the Intimidate, and that Stone Edge does nothing. 20%, which is just pitiful. Now, what I should have done there was gone for the knockoff, because I knew he wasn't going to stay in and sacrifice Entei at that point. And a knockoff just is good against everything else on his team. Even the switching and getting rid of the Leftovers would have been beneficial. So we're going to win Winston, because that just straight up stands in that thing's face. And he's going to switch out, and he's going to show that he has a superpower, or yeah, a hidden power which is super effective against Winston. Now, why is that important? Because looking at his team, he doesn't have a water type, which makes me think that it is either that is hidden power water, and I straight up think that's what it is. He's got the good coverage for everything else on my team, on Cresselia possibly. And we're gonna get the crunch off. That is freaking good. And a critical hit. Crunch only does 33%, and that is abysmal. But it's the best thing we can do. Now, I keep crunching here. I know what you're thinking, Tup, why do you keep crunching here? You're not getting anything. I'm trying to get that 20% chance for a defense drop. Now, we've hit it twice now. And we're going to continue to crunch, because I don't want this thing sitting at full health. I'm going to get another crit there. So we get 2 crits, which have an 8% chance of happening. We go for crunch, was that the 5th time? 4 or 5 times, and don't get the defense drop. So I don't want to say we're getting anti-hacks here, but we're not getting the hacks we want. Those crits aren't helping us at all in the long run. That defense drop would help us and make him switch out, and that is what I want. But that's still not happening. So I switch out here going to Heracross because I know he's going to have to go for another Moonlight. And I want to get switched in and out before the Sandstorm stops raging. So our lack of crunch defense drops really hurts. Now, I go for the knockoff here because I really didn't think he was going to stay in. Now, I don't know what his reasoning for this was. Probably because he knew and or thought he could take a Mega Horn at this health, which he probably could have, considering knockoff did less than half. But we do get the benefit of removing the leftovers, so he will not be getting he will always be taking Sandstorm damage and not recovering it immediately, which is bueno, because chip damage is chip damage. He stays in, goes for the Psychic. We're locked in. I cannot take another Psychic, so we go into Bloodlust again here. And we're going to miss a Gunk Shot. And why is missing Gunk Shot important? Because chip damage on this thing is important. It puts it in KO range of so many of the other things. Gunk Shot would have probably done at least 25%. We're max attack adamant. Gunk Shot has 120 base power, pretty sure. And that would have just plastered this thing. Plus, Gunk Shot has a chance to poison, but we're gonna miss. I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy or Butthurt Betty missing all of those moves, but it makes me sad face. So we're gonna switch out into Winston here, get the sand back up. Even at -1, that Earthquake does a lot to this Grand Bull. But more importantly, we get the sand back up. And the sand and rocks are important because they do so much to his team. Gonna switch out here, gonna go into Latias, and I predict that and go for the crunch. I'm like, that did a lot of stinking damage at -1. So I'm happy about that. And he's gonna defog, get rid of the rocks, gonna crunch here. Was that a critical hit? It was not. But still not getting defense drop, sad face. I know I shouldn't be complaining about that with the back-to-back, well, almost back-to-back crits on the Latias, or the Cresselia, but still, a single defense drop would have made the difference in the game at this very point, and it would have helped me break through his walls with one of mine, which would have been great. But that doesn't happen. He's going to continue to roost, and I'm just going to keep crunching, because at some point, I'm going to get a defense drop, right? No. Going to Heracross because he is just going to have to continue to roost at this point. And I am just going to go for the knockoff again because right now that's what I need to do and continue to remove items. Getting the leftovers off these things is going to destroy his walls with the Sandstorm. Go right back out into Hippowdon and he goes out into Nidoking and I'm like, oh, cannot stay in there. Got to go back out into Heracross because it's really the only thing at this point I have to sack. And as much as it pains me, it being Scarfed really hinders its usefulness to this team. But go out into it. Gonna bring out Jade here. If he's Scarfed, which I don't know at this point, Ice Beam isn't going to do a thing to me. And if he isn't Scarfed, he can't outspeed me ever because I'm max speed. So he has to switch out here. And I'm just going to go for a Scald because nothing appreciates a Scald. And I have a 30% chance to get the burn. Right? Right. Gonna go out into Latias here. Gonna get the Scald. Resisted. Not gonna get the burn. Gonna go for the Sludge Bomb here. Not get the poison, which is 30% chance. Which is why we switched from Sludge Wave to Sludge Bomb when he got rid of Chestnut, because Chestnut has bulletproof and Sludge Bomb doesn't work against it. So we switch back to this with a chance to get the poison. Not going to happen there. We are going to snag... No, we aren't going to snag it that time. Okay, so we've used it twice, not snagged it yet. Hit it one more time. There we get the poison. So we are at even odds there. And I haven't seen what his other move is yet. So if he's carrying the Psychic, I'm going to continue attacking until he goes for it. There's the Psychic. It's super effective and it does a ton of damage. But he is accumulating hits. And he is slowly letting himself get whittled down. Poison is doing more than his leftovers are, but he is just going to be able to roost this damage off. And I don't really have a good alternative here, because I can't switch anything in to take a Surf. And until he takes me out, I just have to keep trying to whittle him down. So he finally takes me out with a crit there, which is just salt in the wound, because he definitely didn't need it. Now I come out here to reset the sand. Now I don't think at this point a Surf is going to kill me. So Crunch is the play to make because it hits everything on his team outside of Granbull. I'm gonna pull a double switch out here, predicting him to roost, getting Kruger up. Now that was a double switch, right? Or no, it wasn't a double switch. I set the sand after Tentacruel went down, and I'm gonna send out Kruger after that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Gonna set up the sub here. I am just going to let him keep surfing it. Now, why am I doing this? Because poison damage and Sandstorm. Poison damage is whittling him down. Sandstorm is negating his leftovers, and I need to get him, if he's max HP with no defense investment, because I think this is purely special based off the calcs I ran. If that is his set, I need to get him to somewhere right around 51-ish% to have a safe roll to kill it with an X Scissor. So I have to sub down until he gets to that point from the poison damage. And I know it's going to happen relatively soon. Because poison is taking quite a chunk from him each time. And I can continue to sub down there. And he's at 58% now. Well, now he's down to 51%. I know, unless I get an extreme low roll, that is going to kill it. And I'm going to bring out the Zapdos here. Going to go for the Rock Slide, and I'm like, oh, give me a flinch. That doesn't happen. And he's going to miss the Heat Wave. So we have a match here. Had that Heat Wave hit, it would have been Hippowdon versus the rest of his team, which wouldn't have been good. That Heat Wave hit there saves us pretty much from getting 5-0'd, ultimately, is what it did. So we are in a match now. Rock Slide hits, does so much damage, letting us know this thing is offensive. And that Heat Wave would have almost guaranteed kill us. But we get a Breath of Life here. And Zapdos is going to take Sandstorm damage. We don't see an item because he missed. So if he is Life Orb, we didn't see that there. But he takes Sandstorm damage and doesn't get leftovers. So making me think that he is probably either Expert Belt or Life Orb. So that's really good for us. He's going to switch out into Hugh Grant. Now, I was hoping... Well, let's go ahead here. We're going to miss the Rock Slide, which... Oh! Upset me so much, because gauging off of how much that Rock Slide did would have let me know whether or not I could stay in an Earthquake it. But we miss. Now, if I could have finished this thing with Earthquake right here, it would have made the rest of my match really easy, because I could have switched out. Got Hippowdon back in, kept the sand rolling, and ultimately not been intimidated the rest of the match. You'll see that comes into play a little bit later. But I'm going to set up the sub here. He is going to Earthquake. I'm trying to wait for the Sandstorm to subside, so I can... I don't know what's going on here. I am so lost. But we are at turn 52. Gonna go for the X Scissor to see how much damage it's gonna do. He does have the HP pause. the HP water, it's super effective. That is the only thing, the only shared weakness between Hippowdon and Excadrill. So, yeah. Whew. Gonna go out into Hippowdon here. He's just gonna Moonlight, which was hindered by the Sandstorm, which was a good time to switch out there. I do get the rocks back up. It's gonna hurt the rest of his team. He's gonna go for the HP. I'm gonna guess water there, and you're gonna see the Earthquake come out here. Now this is where the rubber meets the road. He can either, and this is, I'm gonna explain this right here. He can either finish me off with an HP water and guarantee that I have nothing left with Winston, or he can see that I Earthquaked, play mind game shenanigans, and try to roost here to preserve this, knowing that a crunch will probably do next to nothing. So I Earthquake here because if he attacks, I'm dead anyways. I'm not surviving another one. He did 48% with the first one. If that was a max roll, even a min roll is going to do more than 30. So here, I have to go for Earthquake. 100% of the time. Have to go for Earthquake. Because if he attacks, I die. If he roosts, I have to Earthquake to keep this thing at min health. I'm just like, oh, please go for the roost. He does roost, and the Earthquake is going to take this thing out. Bada bing, bada boom. Cresselia is going to come back out here. Going to pull the double switch into Nidoking. I just slack off on that turn, and I wasn't certain, it's still at this point was not certain what the set on this was. So I didn't know if he was going to go for the Earth Power there, predicting me to switch out. I wasn't sure, I was pretty sure a Ice Beam was going to kill me. Not sure if this thing gets Surf or anything of that nature. But I thought Ice Beam was probably his play to make, or Earth Power if he thought he needed to kill Excadrill on the switch in, but I just had to stay in an Earthquake at that point. So Hippowdon goes down, and we are 1 versus 4. And I'm just like, oh, what have we gotten ourselves into? We've got a few turns of Sandstorm down already. And we're just going to have to Earthquake and hope for the best here. Now he stays in, Earthquake is going to kill, which is excellent. We're getting a little bit of leftovers back. Gramble is going to come out here. Even after the Intimidate, we should be able to kill with an Earthquake here. At the health he is, the Sandstorm damage, and everything. Earthquake is good enough to take him out, which is just, whew, excellent. Now, had we hit that Rock Slide, we might have been able to take it out earlier and not have this -1 attack. Now, he brings out Cresselia here, which the Sandstorm subsided last turn. So I wasn't sure if this meant he was running completely bulky Entei, because I figured Entei would come out and finish me off. Talked to him afterwards, and it turns out he was expecting me to be, he wasn't sure with the damage calc with the rules that I could have gotten. I could have been Jolly max speed Excadrill, which would have outsped the variant of the Entei he brought, which is why he sent this in first. My mindset right here, the max damage I was doing on Cresselia was not enough with X-Scissor. So unless I crit, and even if I could, I might not have taken it out at this point, depending on the roll, I think. So what I do here, I go for the Rock Slide. My odds of flinching are higher than critting, and I need the combo damage with the flinch in order to be able to take out this Cresselia. Yeah, he's at 42%. We were doing like 20-something% with X's or before. So excuse me. We have to flinch with Rock Slide in order to finish him the next turn with an X-Scissor. Go for the Rock Slide. It's not enough. It only does 10%. Is it going to flinch? It does not. He sets up the Moonlight, and I'm just like, ah, crap. So I'm at the point, I go for the X-Scissor. I need like 2 super crits in order to beat him with this. That isn't going to happen. and 2x scissors is not going to be enough to take him down, and he is going to finish me off with the HP water there. So GG Gio, that was an excellent match. It goes down to a 2-0. A little bit unlucky with some of the things that could have happened earlier in the match, but it is what it is. He outplayed me with the endgame, and he is going to win with the 2-0 final score, which is much better than what I think he 5-0'd us, or kicked, maybe 4-0'd us the first time around, really kicked our butt. So that's going to bring his record to 4-5. That's going to bring our record to 5-4. Pardon me. Depending on what Cooper does this week will determine whether or not we stay atop the division, which we were going into this week. So if Cooper is to lose by a 2-0 or greater, we will remain at the top of the division. So you'll have to check out Cooper's match this week. I don't remember who he plays. But check that out and find out whether or not your Pittsburgh Pirattatas are going to stay atop the division. Alright guys. This is our first back-to-back loss this season, and it's a little stingy, but it was against Gio, who's a great battler, so I'm not really worried about that. Next week we go to play, I believe, YoFizz, Fizzy Stardust, and the Atlanta Haluchas, who we have a vendetta to go against a fellow NCO member. Too sweet me, bro. But yeah. Gonna be playing Fizzy Stardust. Always a good match when we play Fizz. I haven't even looked at the team matchup yet, and I don't even remember what he has. Did a lot of trading and free agency stuff, so I'm not even sure what he has anymore. But be on the lookout for that. Be sure to go to Gym Leader Gio's video, his live game. He usually does live gameplay, and I'm pretty sure he did this time, if I remember talking to him correctly. So go check that out. His insightfulness and thought process is always fun to watch and good to emulate if you want to get good at battling. But yeah, 63 turns, a pretty freaking long match if you ask me. In real time, it was like an hour and a half. It was crazy. But as always, it's always fun and a pleasure to play Gym Leader Gio. But yeah, guys, this has been Oldmantup. Hashtag Team Mystic if you're on Pokemon Go. Just took my first gym in Pokemon Go, so we are defending the railroad station in my hometown. Fun fact. So yeah. But alright guys, this has been Oldmantup. Thank you for watching. If you're still around, I want you to throw up that hashtag, whatever team you are, in Pokemon Go. And if you don't have Pokemon Go, throw up hashtag Team Pirattatas. Why not? But anyways guys, thank you for watching. This has been Oldmantup, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.